It's not the house that's haunted. It's your son.
What's your favorite scary movie?
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Welcome back to Slashers in Sync. Gonna be switching it up on today's episode. Not talking about horror, not talking about Reddit, but we're gonna be talking about Demon Slayer. So I guess demons or
pop culture-esque, right?
Slayer of demons, mother of dragons.
All right, no, that's a different show.
Breaker of chains.
No.
Okay. So it's season 4, right, of Demon Slayer?
Yeah, I believe so.
She's read the manga. I haven't. So we're talking strictly season 4. Mm-hmm. Some other stuff that kind of goes into that, like the side material, the movies, also the movie that came out in the theaters most recently.
Yep.
We'll be discussing all of that. We're not going to sit here and break it down episode by episode. You can just go watch it yourself.
Yes.
They're only 20 minutes each. We're going to be giving you...
this is a shorter season, too.
A shorter season, too, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll just be giving it to you, like, pause, actually. I didn't have to say pause on that, right? I really did it.
No.
Watashi wasta.
Yeah, definitely, you are.
Anyways, we're going to be talking about it and just giving our likes and dislikes of the show. So, keeping it very simple for you guys.
Yes, very much.
I think right away, the biggest thing that I liked was probably the connection with the characters that we saw. I felt like we got to see a different side of the Hashiras, because that's what this whole season was about, right? It was about the Hashiras training and then also the Hashiras uniting in the season finale. So we got to see a lot of that, and we'll get into like the brother backstory of the Sound Hashira, or is
Wind.
that a Wind? Close.
No.
Is Sound and Wind two different things?
Yes.
As Hashiras or just in general?
Yes, both.
So who's the Sound Hashira?
Sounds is Tengen.
He was Sound? I thought he was like...
No.
Really? He was Sound?
Yeah, that's why he tells the demon with the sickles, the brother and sister, like, oh, I can finally hear your filthy score, and then is able to go back and go against them. Like, they literally turn his aura into music sheet.
I thought that dude was all fireworks and shit.
I mean, he calls it being flashy, but music can be flashy.
I deadass did not know he was a Sound Hashira up until now.
Guys... educate him, please. Because I've told him countless of times.
Okay.
But I mean, that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Which we did see Tengen in this season, actually. So that was cool.
Yeah. I told you he wasn't useless. Just because he got his arm chopped off doesn't mean he's useless anymore.
So as someone who's read the manga, and not to turn this to an interview, but as someone who's read the manga, like, what did you think of this season? Because I've seen mixed things. It's been rushed. It wasn't well thought out. Should have made it longer. Like, what do you think?
I liked it. Full transparency, I liked it. What I didn't like was the movie leading up to the new season coming out. Because the way that it was marketed was like as if you had to watch this movie in order to be able to make sense of what's going on with the new arc.
The one we saw in theaters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we watched it, it was just essentially a recap of season 1, season 2, season 3. And then the very last, 30 or 40 minutes was, new footage. Mind you, this new footage was the first episode of the newest season coming out. So, in all honesty, you really didn't need to watch it. But as far as the arc goes altogether, was it rushed? Yeah. But do I think it takes points away from the story? Not really. I know a lot of people are very much into the Infinity Arc Castle, and it's weird because nobody really seems to win, or at least the animators never seem to win, because for any show, especially anime, if the training arc takes a long time, people get bored and people drop it, and that's a common tendency between all forms of anime. And there were some things. Now, I've read the manga twice, and the second time that I read it was a little while ago. I remember a good portion, but I don't remember all of it. So I don't think anything was cut out. I just think a lot of things were pushed quickly forward, if that makes any sense.
Because it's not like the old days where Bleach and Naruto and Dragon Ball are known to have filler to stretch things out. Like, could we have seen what Nezuko was doing on the side? Sure. Could we have seen maybe like... Not even in the manga that shows what Nezuko's doing. So there's nothing. They could have shown that if they wanted to, but studios aren't known to do that anymore. Like, it's not like Toei Animation where they're going to create like a Gohan robot side plot while the stands are arriving to Earth. Like, it's just... they don't go out of their way to do things like that anymore.
And I mean, that's what usually caused a lot of people to stop watching the shows for a while whenever it derailed from the manga. But now that... I won't say this is one for one because I don't believe it's one for one, but I will say that it was very close, and there were certain things that I won't say was glossed over, but they were speeding things along a good amount as well. I wasn't really mad about it because I knew the ultimate goal was to get to the point of where the Infinity Castle arc started, because that's where a lot of the action is, and that's what a lot of people actually want to see. But the animators can't win, bro, because if they make the training arc as long as the manga was, I'm sure people would be complaining about how training was too long. They should have shortened it. Now that it's shorter, it's like, 12 episodes? People are complaining that it was too short, that it was rushed. You can't keep most people happy these days. So it's just a matter of what the creator wants the story to be perceived as.
Not to defend these people, but there might be a reason for them being upset with the way the season went, but we'll get into the 3-parter later that people have been discussing as well. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But just going back to it, I feel like, because it starts off with, everyone kind of recovering from what happened at the entertainment district. We kind of see Tanjiro, who was literally probably beaten almost half to death in that arc. Like, he was stabbed. He was all kinds of stuff, right? There was
fingers, broken legs,
everything.
Arms.
So he gets his sword back. So there's a lot of that going on, and then finally we get to the training part. But yeah, it really just boils down to this is really just a show this was a season, for the Hashira.
It wasn't the entertainment. It was the sword art.
Oh, the sword art. That's right. I always forget that.
The sword village.
I don't even know why I always forget it because I liked it. It's not like it was.
I think the entertainment was the one that made us the biggest impact.
I always do go back to that fight though, which is probably why I think that. Yeah.
But it is the swordsman village that's right before, and this is where we really see the Mist and the Love Hashira debut their powers, if you will.
How long was that season?
Normal length. I think it was 23, 24 episodes, if I'm not wrong.
So was that put together with season 3, or was that the first part of 4?
No, that was I guess 4, and what we watched is 5. I don't keep track. All I know is that it's the swordsman arc, or swords village arc.
Because Mugen Train was what, season 2 or
Mugen Train was its own season.
Yeah, because they reanimated right after the movie too.
There's a lot of seasons out there. I don't know what number it is. In all honesty, I'll just go by the title of the season. It was the original training arc. It was the Mugen train arc, and then it was the entertainment arc, and then from the entertainment turns into swordsman, and from swordsman it turned into the Hashira. So it's either 5 or 6.
The only reason why I mentioned season was I remember them advertising it as a season, but saying there was a number with it. I don't remember which one it was.
I don't know,
but I thought you might have known because we saw it at AX. It was that big sign. I'll try and put it in the video here in the editing. That was a badass art piece with it too. So, but regardless of all of that, I guess just seeing that play into it kind of set the tone for the season, because it was just going to be the training for what I guess they thought was going to be coming up soon, which was going to be that, because they knew Muzan and his people were going to come after Nezuko after her surviving the sunlight.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's hinted throughout the entire story that he is looking for this one flower that he hasn't been able to find for 1,000 years, and it's the blue spider lily. And allegedly that blue spider lily is going to be the very thing that saves him, that gives him salvation from the sun, the one thing that he can't conquer. And what I found really cool reading the manga the first time and seeing it kind of sort of explained but also glossed over in the anime, which I wasn't sure I truly liked, was the fact that Muzan can see and experience everything that all his other demons see and experience as well.
Right.
So his cells really do live in these creatures or these entities' bodies, but at the same time, it's almost kind of similar to the clone jutsu that Naruto does, where whatever they experience, he also gets to see.
Like he retains
he doesn't
knowledge
inherit like the pain or anything, no, but he sees what they're going through, or like has like small visions here and there, which kind of blew my mind in the beginning, because I was thinking he has hundreds of demons all throughout Japan and who knows where else. So just how much information is he being fed all at the same time while keeping sane, while giving orders and so on and so forth. So
I don't want you to talk about this yet because we'll get into the season finale. But besides all that stuff, what stood out to you from the training portion? Because I think mine probably has to be either probably Giyu, like what happened with him and Tanjiro, seeing their relationship get better.
Yeah.
I think that was a standout for me, but a close second was the brothers with the Wind Hashira.
My standout portion is a little bit more lighthearted. Mine is actually the rivalry that the Serpent Hashira that creates with Tanjiro, because he is close with the Love Hashira.
Yeah. And
like Tanjiro inadvertently gets thrown into like this triangle where the Love Hashira and him both know that they're rather platonic, while the Serpent Hashira is very jealous. And I thought it was very comical to see, because it captured its own tone in the manga, but seeing it in the anime was something else.
Yeah.
Same thing goes for Giyu and Tanjiro, because like Tanjiro really was going around and annoying the fuck out of Giyu, but I don't think it was to that extent. So seeing it play out in the anime, I was just kind of thinking like, he's always been the big brother in every given situation. So this is the first time he's quite literally acting like a little bro.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, you ready to play now? Hey, hey.
Like when he came outside and Tanjiro was like still there, but
I was like, Giyu-san! Like so excited, and I loved it.
Oh man, no, yeah, seeing the relationship get better was good. Plus, seeing what happened with Sabito too, and the hand demon, like seeing that full story play out from like Giyu's perspective was dope.
You saw that one story just kind of tie its own knot, and then yeah. I
think also like it makes it kind of sad, because the way like you talked about Sabito is that he probably would have been like. He would have, if he had flourished and reached the age that Giyu's at, he probably would have been like the top Hashira. You know,
he would have been the water Hashira. The only reason why Giyu rationalized it at that point is because he was there. He made it. No. Sabito didn't. But the whole point is that Sabito was willing to sacrifice himself to ensure that Giyu went along and carried out their will, if you will.
The strength Hashira also had a pretty crazy backstory too.
The blind one, yeah.
I forget his name. It's like Oimba or something like that.
When I read it for the first time, I'm terrible with names, like in person, let alone fictional names. So don't roast me. The blind Hashira, the strength Hashira, reading his story for the first time, I got so fucking mad at the kids. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Y'all don't deserve him. Get the fuck out. Even the little girl should have been murdered. Fuck this.
And this is coming from someone who actually worked at a school. So.
Yeah. But like overall, his story was tragic. But seeing him like also turn around and just be like looking at Tanjiro and being like, hey, you know, like I choose to believe you despite the fact that you're a kid, because he was betrayed. He was betrayed by all the children, especially the one that like he was trying to protect the most. Granted, like she was only 4 years old, so I get it. Like she was stunned. She probably had like a lot of fear, and like she started crossing a lot of memories together, and things got a little too blurry for her, and she probably couldn't really express herself because of the trauma that she witnessed. However, like she didn't need to point the finger at him and be like, hey, he killed all those kids, because we all know that didn't happen.
Also like how that tied into why the master chose him out of all people to understand his reasoning for that, like, you know, that he needed to die and you have to be there, you know what I mean? It made sense for him specifically because he could relate the most to that.
I think he was also one of the first people to be selected as Hashira during his reign too, and then that's where you have everybody else slowly being added into the group. That's why like
everyone was super protective of him, including the strength Hashira. It's just like for this moment, he knew that
they shared a connection that not the other Hashiras had, and it was because of the length of time that they knew each other for. Yeah. There are some, like, I get it. There are times where you can build a connection where it feels stronger than somebody that you've known for a long period of time, but this kind of connection between the two of them felt very deep, and it happened, and it felt like also very, like, lengthy. Like, nothing really could substitute it.
Well, obviously, one of the big highlights of this is Muzan's walk. I'm just kidding. Man, that got
memes.
Yeah, that got meme like crazy. Like,
I loved it though. I when I saw it the first time, I got chills. I was like, ooh, like it's about to get started.
Like a 10-minute walk, bro.
That's fine.
That was crazy.
He can do his model walk. It's okay. Michael Jackson can walk however he wants.
Yeah. All the memes on that, man. I can't even think of them, but there's like an Instagram video. If not, probably Twitter, YouTube has it as well, where they're just throwing all sorts of songs over it. And
My favorite one's the JoJo's one.
The JoJo's one, yeah.
JoJo's, and then I think there was a Naruto one too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think, but I could be wrong.
Most animes got thrown onto there because we found out that Muzan is walking in beat to most openings and or dramatic songs.
Yeah. That just lined up for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's good. But yeah, the finale, or that was the prelude to the finale. The actual episode, Hashiras Unite, was probably one of the best Demon Slayer episodes. Like, that was...
It was gorgeous.
Like, that was insane, dude. Like...
Yeah.
I loved the plot twist of the master being the one who is the one who sacrifices himself. Because I even asked you when it showed Muzan with his hand down, he had all the fire. I was like, is that one of his attacks? And then you're just like smiling. And I'm like, oh shit. Next thing you know, you just see his body hit the ground. And you're like, why is he blown up? And then that's when he like explains what happened. Like, that's crazy, dude.
The way that Muzan also explained it in the anime, I felt like was explained better than in the manga, because he literally goes on to say like, this man moved and plotted like a serpent, but one of those that hides in the grass and seems harmless, but the second that it bites you, like you feel its poison rushing through you, and before you know it, it's too late. Like, I get it. It's like an ancient long rivalry between the two families, if you will. But at the same time, like seeing that amount of hate brew from both sides, Muzan being the more aggressive kind and the master being more of the gentle kind, you kind of come to find out that the gentle kind of hatred is probably the most poisonous kind as well.
Yeah.
Quite literally and metaphorically.
And I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, because I know Muzan literally showcases later that he kind of predicted that this would happen, which is what leads to the Infinity Castle. I do want to just add, though, I think even with him predicting that the Hashiras at some point would jump in, I feel like
he was caught off guard.
Yeah, the master caught him off guard.
Man's caught him off guard. Not even that, but like the fucking string Hashira with his dual chain thing where one side it's like a bludger and the other side is an axe. The fact that he could keep up with Muzan's blood art was insane, because I think he has two major ones. One's the flame, very similar to Nezuko's, and the other one is I think it's like dark blood or like black blood, where it looks like barbed wire and like thorns coming out of him. He could have a third one. I could be mistaken, because again, it's been a while since I've read it.
I was shocked. Yeah, you're not wrong to see the Strength Hashira keep up with him. Like, I thought at one point, because I was expecting to see all of them jump him before he took the Infinity Castle, but he seemed to like have a handle on that, man. Like, he was fully, not to say he's equal to Muzan, I'm not trying to power scale right now, but he was fully prepared to fight this motherfucker to sunlight, bro, when he survived that headshot. You know, like he knew the burden that he would need to take. Like, he was prepared to fight this dude until. Yeah,
I think the master and the blind Hashira, the strength Hashira, really took the time to plan things out accordingly.
All possibilities.
The only thing they didn't really account for was that Muzan can move his castle literally anywhere.
Yeah,
anywhere that he moves.
Shit, yeah,
his castle is like nearby. All it takes is a strum of one of the demon with the single eye and all the hair for him to finally fall back into his Infinity Castle. But that also explains how he is able to coincide and live with humans for so long. Yeah. Because he constantly goes on to say that he hates humans. Like, he fucking hates them. But in the very beginning of the series, he has a family. He even has a kid.
Yeah.
So, like, like rewatching it now, I'm kind of thinking in my head, like, was this kid already there? Or did he make it?
Right.
Is he really dead, like how we associate vampires to be like, or can he reproduce with another human? And if that's the case, just how much disgust did he need to hold back in order to do that?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things where I sit back and I was just kind of thinking it through, and I won't say it makes me question him, but at the same time, you come to realize that all the other people who are against him going around and saying like he's a walking contradiction, or like he's always like in fear of something or envious, you can pick up on it slowly throughout the show and throughout the series itself.
And I guess it's just one thing that people have to understand when it comes to shows or media or anything is that villains are supposed to be hypocritical. They are supposed to be wrong. Like, yeah, there's some villains that have such a crazy backstory, and maybe it sounds right. Like Thanos is an example. You know, maybe it does sound like, okay, he wants to help the universe, but still, he's a villain. He's an antagonist. Like, you're supposed to question his motives. You're not supposed to agree with them right away, you know?
What I feel like a lot of people have not necessarily forgotten, but are not as accustomed to anymore is the idea of like a true villain and then an anti-hero. Like, Thanos, he can be arguably an anti-hero to an extent. At least the one that we were familiar with, not the 2012 that showed up in the most recent Marvels that led to Tony dying. I forgot.
The Endgame.
The Endgame, sorry. Not that version of Thanos. I'm talking about Thanos who went to the farm and, you know, lived out his life.
Infinity War Thanos.
Yeah, that one. He was more of an anti-hero in my mind than an antagonist, which in return, or at least the way that I was brought up and learned the term when I was in high school, when you're an anti-hero, you have your own motives that you believe are true and just.
Yeah.
And you're going out and you're acting about it. Now, whether or not society agrees with it, whether or not like your family agrees with it, whether or not like you're considered a vigilante, that's for that world to figure out. And that's also for the reader to figure out. Yeah. However, the viewer or the reader also has the ability to empathize and sympathize with said character, because while their moral compass isn't the most straight, you can make the ends justify the means. But that also in turn makes you question things of like, then where does your moral compass lie, right? With an antagonist, it's somebody who you can either empathize with, sympathize with, or completely despise. So an anti-hero can also be an antagonist, but an antagonist isn't always an anti-hero.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, after talking about the finale, what are your dislikes of the season, if you have any?
I mean, this was my critique whenever I was reading the manga too, which is we see less of Nezuko. I know she is supposed to be. Fan, I am. I think she's cute, just like most girls. But what I really wanted to know is after she conquered the sun, what exactly was she doing? Because we see her talk, we see her kind of like get revenge on Inosuke not really learning Tanjiro's name.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Like, that's literally it. I get it. She's supposed to be in the Butterfly Mansion. Like, she's supposed to be just kind of enjoying her time with all the other girls, or if anything, like in hiding even more so than before. But I kind of wanted to truly understand what was unlocking in her brain with time, because as somebody who was reading the manga while it was coming out, one of the theories that was running through the community was that Nezuko's brain reverted back to a child's, which is how she was able to form, like, because she was forced to stay in a childlike form during the first, like, season or two, during the first few years, her brain also reverted back. That's why it's so difficult for her to talk, but she can still do things that she normally could do, like run errands, walk around, speak in general, but she can't formulate smooth sentences.
Right.
She has to really think before she speaks. So I wanted to see what was she doing to kind of catch back up to speed. Yeah. Because then the other theory was that, well, if she stayed in adult form, would that mean that she would think more like an adult then?
Right.
Or not. Or if she stayed the form that she was right before she turned into a demon, would she have stayed the same? Is the reason why she didn't go berserk like how that one doctor, the one in the very beginning, I forget her name, the one who's also a demon and hates Muzan. Please let me know. Thank you.
And she was in the finale too, right?
Yeah, she is also in the finale. She works with Shinobu for a good while too. She also even mentions that Nezuko should have gone berserk. Despite her not feeding on humans nor on animals, any other demon would have gone berserk. So her sleeping for those 2 years also changed her physiologically. So I kind of wanted an in-depth understanding, or at least some form of like reasoning as to how her physiological changes occurred and how that affected her mentality as well. Because she could take orders, she understood things. It's just a matter of like communicating.
I think my only dislike was that I just wanted to see more Inosuke, to be honest.
Inosuke would have been more fun too. Zainsu was there. He was a character to behold, and then some.
We're gonna see more of him, obviously, though, because of that subplot that he got. So I don't know what it is.
If you guys have read, you know. He doesn't know. He's about to know soon, but I forgot. And I told him recently, I think right before we started recording, that I forgot exactly what the subplot was with him until I watched one of those like spoiler Instagram reels, and then I sat back and everything flooded back, and I realized everything finally clicks, and you understand why Zainsu is the way that he is.
I'm gonna find out soon because I actually downloaded the rest of the chapters for Demon Slayer all the way up into 201, I believe, and I'm gonna read that on my flight to Texas. Or actually, as this episode goes up, I actually should be returning from Texas.
You should be, yeah, but he can't wait for the movies to come out, so he's gonna read them.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So people are pissed about the movies, man. So what do you think? Our friend BG hates it. He thinks that they're milking this shit. He's pissed off that he's probably gonna be like 35 when the last movie comes out.
I don't care. I really don't. As long as I see it finished and I see it animated, like, I'll be happy. Because, I mean, I watched fucking Battle of Gods in my 20s. I went and I watched Broly in my, like, mid to later 20s. So, and I watched Super in my later 20s. So I'm used to watching anime movies in theaters, and when I'm older, it's fine. I mean, I get it. Are they milking it? Yeah, but I'm not mad. Maybe it's also because I've read it.
You read it too,
and I've just kind of like I know, and I've made my peace with it. But if they want to make their bank, they can make their bank. I can't get mad at it. Like, people love this show. It was a whole movement at one point. I don't know if you remember when you and I talked about it when it first came out. Like, for a good year and a half, anything associated with anime had Demon Slayer on it. It was almost as big as Dragon Ball when it first debuted.
Well, see, that's what I don't know about all that, but see, that's when it goes back to,
I said almost.
That's when it goes back to BG's point, is that I think he just feels like they know they can make money off of it, and it's not so much about creating the material creatively as do it for money, essentially. Like, he thinks that they're just fucking milking it. At least in his opinion, but I'm not BG. I can't speak for him here. Just going off of what I've heard. But I know a lot of other people are just kind of like, you know, a 3-part film just kind of seems unnecessary. They could have just made this season longer and then ended it with a movie.
They could have, or they could have also done a 2-part film. Does it really need to be 3 parts? I don't know. But I also do know that the author was rushed finishing the story. So if anything, they could be making it a 3-part film because the author is finally taking the time to make the ending make more sense. I know a lot of people were upset with the way that the manga ended, and a lot of people actually hated the author because of the ending. First time I read it, I wasn't the happiest, but I wouldn't say I was going around screaming that, oh, Demon Slayer sucks. However, reading it the second time, I then realized there was a certain a phrase dropped here and there throughout the series that came full circle around the end, is my best way of saying it without spoilers. So I couldn't really be too upset.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think, since it's only been marketed as the Infinity Castle films, that they're only covering the Infinity Castle, or do you think at the end of the last movie we'll see the actual finish of the show?
I think we'll see the finish of the show in the last movie. I don't think they're gonna jump back to an anime because that doesn't make too much sense. If they do that, that's whenever I'll hop on the train of saying that they're definitely milking it.
If they find out in a year how it really ends with a new anime.
Yeah, but I mean, I can also understand why they're taking the time to make the films, because I mean, 67 chapters, that alone of itself is like about a season and a half, if anything, sometimes 2, depending on the animation studio that you have. But what happens within those chapters is so fucking jam-packed, and there's so much action. And I think, obviously, I'm not an animator. I used to draw, but I won't call myself an artist. I would like to think that whenever it comes to movie projects, animators have more time to execute things better than they do a show.
For the most part, yeah. And
the way that these characters move, excuse me, both the Demon Slide and the Hashiras and the Demon Slayer side, is insane. You thought you've seen really unique swordsmanship or really unique blood, like demon blood art or just demon art in general. You're absolutely fucking wrong. There is so much more there. There is so much left to unpack. Like, all the characters that we thought we really learned to understand, there's more to them that we don't really know. Like, this last season, we got maybe the first few pages of each Hashira's life, as in like a book, if you will, if you want to continue to use that metaphor. But within the Infinity Castle itself, at least from what I remember, you dive in further to their stories. And it kind of falls back to the way that it was with the series in the beginning, where Tanjiro could actually see the demons right before they became a demon themselves, feel the pain, feel the sorrow, feel the hopelessness.
Yeah.
That tone of story comes back with both the Hashiras and for the demons.
And that sounds fire. I can't wait. I mean, I know about the spoilers already towards at least the end of the show.
The very end.
So I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it all plays in the execution, just like with AOT, because I've heard how bad AOT is towards the end. I mean, I saw the memes, I saw the people that the think pieces on that shit. But as of right now, I'm loving the final chapters. I think we're at 9 episodes away from the end, so I think it just depends on execution and just your perspective on it. Not to say some things can't be bad, because factually some shows are just fucking stupid and bad, but hopefully that's not how it is with Demon Slayer and possibly AOT. But we'll probably talk about AOT in the future, because that's also a show that I've just watched and she's read. But let us know if you want us to talk about JJK, because that's another show.
Jujutsu Kaisen, for those who don't know.
That's another show that deals with demons and all that stuff. So yeah, I think I can't call it season 4 anymore, I really don't know what it is. But the new Demon Slayer season,
the Hashira season.
What do you think overall? What would you rate it?
6.5, 7.
I give it like a 6 out of 10 too. Yeah, 6.5. Okay. Yeah. Let us know what you think of Demon Slayer down below, and if you're hyped for the films that are upcoming. We don't have dates yet on that, but hopefully soon.
They're saying like 2025, maybe early 26 for the first one, but more likely to not spring, summer 25. So I'm not upset.
I'm gonna be 40, bro, when the last one comes out.
No, he won't. Relax, he won't.
I mean, I don't care about any of that, because like my dad, who's like in his early 60s, watches like Justice League still, like the show.
Yeah, he watched One Piece.
Yeah, well, the live action.
The live action, but still, One Piece nonetheless.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you for. You didn't even watch that yet, bro.
I've seen the first episode.
That's true. I watched it. I liked it. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in as always, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure you follow us and make sure you hit us up, man. They have a new comment section there, so if you want to comment down below ideas for our podcast, go ahead and do that. Same as well on YouTube as well. Same as YouTube. Go ahead and comment down below ideas and suggestions, and let us know what you want us to improve on or just talk about, man. We're here.
Yeah.
Later.